The alarm clock buzzed at 6 a.m. sharp, slicing through the early morning silence like a starting whistle on a stadium pitch. Cristiano Ronaldo opened his eyes, not groggy, not hesitant. He moved with precision, discipline carved into every muscle and every cell of his body. This was not just another morning. This was a ritual, a preparation for greatness, the foundation of what made him the player the world watched with awe. The world outside his window was still asleep. The streets were empty, the city quiet, the air crisp. Most people were wrapped in blankets, dreaming of comfort, postponing the day. But Ronaldo didn't know postponement. He had learned long ago that greatness doesn't wait, it is forged in the hours when others rest. He started with stretching, each movement deliberate, a symphony of control and power. His body, honed by years of relentless training, responded instantly. Every muscle, every tendon, remembered the countless drills, the countless matches, the countless victories. This was more than routine, it was a conversation between him and his own limits. He pushed, he stretched, he prepared, knowing that on match day, this preparation would turn into seconds of decisive brilliance. Breakfast was precise, balanced, and purposeful. Proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins arranged with meticulous care. He didn't eat for pleasure, he ate for performance. Every bite was fuel, every sip of water a contribution to the machine he had become. Ronaldo knew that matches weren't won on the field alone. They were won in these quiet moments, in the discipline of preparation, in the choices no one sees. After breakfast, it was time for mental preparation. Meditation, visualization, and focus exercises weren't just for calm, they were for dominance. He visualized the pitch, the opposition, the movements, the goals, the crucial passes. Every scenario played out in his mind. He rehearsed victory, not in arrogance, but in certainty. Ronaldo understood that the mind controlled the body, and if he controlled his mind, the body would follow flawlessly. By 7 a.m., he was out the door, running through empty streets, the city awakening slowly as he pushed himself to the limits. Neighbors would occasionally see a figure sprinting with perfect posture, rhythm, and purpose, unaware that this small, solitary act was a part of a much larger story, a story of dedication that few would ever witness, but everyone would admire on the pitch. As the sun rose, Ronaldo returned home, drenched in sweat, alive with energy, ready for the next phase, training. Every drill, every sprint, every kick was executed with surgical precision. Coaches watched, teammates followed, and the stadiums, eventually, would reap the rewards. But these mornings were private, sacred, where the legend was built away from the cameras, away from the applause. And as he concluded the first 2 hours of his morning routine, Ronaldo paused for a moment, looking at himself in the mirror. Not at CR7, the superstar, not at the icon the world celebrated. But at Cristiano, the man who understood that every victory, every record, every historic moment started here, in the silence of discipline, in the early morning hours when the world was still asleep. By 8 a.m., Cristiano Ronaldo was already on the training pitch. The stadium was empty, but his mind was crowded with focus. Every morning, the field became his laboratory, a place where he dissected the game, tested his limits, and perfected the craft that had taken him from the streets of Madeira to the grandest stages in football. Warm-ups were rigorous, dynamic, and precise. Sprints, agility ladders, cone drills, every movement had a purpose. Ronaldo measured himself against the clock, against his own expectations, against the invisible margin of perfection that he alone understood. No teammate, no coach, no statistic could define what he demanded from himself. Only he could. Ball control came next. Ronaldo dribbled, passed, and shot with relentless repetition, turning practice into an obsession. Each touch was deliberate, each kick, calculated. It wasn't just about technique, it was about intuition, anticipation, and reaction. He practiced scenarios from matches he had played and those he might face, envisioning defenders, goalkeepers, and split-second decisions. And yet, physical mastery was only half the story. The mind had to be sharpened as rigorously as the body. Ronaldo spent hours analyzing footage, not to admire himself, but to understand weaknesses, opportunities, and patterns. He visualized every angle, every movement, and every decision, rehearsing the perfect execution in his imagination before it ever happened in reality. Mid-morning brought a short break and a carefully designed snack, fresh fruits, nuts, and protein shakes to replenish energy. Nutrition was never a convenience, it was a science. Ronaldo knew that every cell in his body depended on what he consumed. Every bite was an investment in his performance, in his ability to dominate the match later that day or that week. Next came strength and conditioning. Weights, resistance training, core exercises, all performed with exacting precision. Each repetition, each set, was counted not just numerically, but for its impact on power, speed, and endurance. His body was a machine, honed through discipline, intelligence, and years of trial and error. Pain was a constant companion, but it was also a teacher. Ronaldo understood that to perform at the highest level, the body had to embrace discomfort and transform it into strength. Recovery was equally vital. Short meditation sessions, stretching, and mobility exercises allowed his body to recharge while maintaining peak flexibility and agility. Ronaldo had learned the hard way that one injury, one lapse in preparation, could derail years of effort. Prevention, recovery, and care were integral to the routine, not optional add-ons. Throughout it all, his focus never wavered. Each movement, each exercise, each bite of food and sip of water was a step toward mastery. He often reflected, the stadium only sees the final 90 minutes. They never see the thousands of hours that make those minutes possible. And in that reflection, he found both humility and pride. By late morning, after 3 intense hours, Ronaldo concluded his personal training. Sweat dripped, muscles ached, but his mind was clear. He had pushed himself beyond yesterday, beyond his limits, and set the tone for what would come next. The day was far from over, but the foundation had been laid. And as he left the pitch, he knew the real match was not just on the field, it was in the preparation, in the discipline, in the relentless pursuit of perfection that no one else would ever see, but everyone would feel when the whistle blew. By noon, Cristiano Ronaldo transitioned from personal training to team preparation. The locker room buzzed with energy, each player absorbed in their own rituals, yet all focused on the same mission, victory. Ronaldo, however, was different. He didn't just arrive, he dominated the mental space, setting the tone for the team before a ball was even kicked. Leadership wasn't granted, it was earned every day, in the quiet moments and in the loud ones. The warm-up with the team was intense. Pass sequences, tactical drills, set-piece rehearsals, all executed at a pace designed to push limits. Ronaldo's presence elevated everyone. He shouted, encouraged, corrected. He led by example, running sprints at the front, demonstrating precision, demonstrating that excellence was non-negotiable. Teammates respected him, not just for skill, but for the fire he brought to every session. Tactical meetings followed. Ronaldo and the coach dissected opponent strategies with military precision. Every formation, every player's movement, every potential weakness analyzed. Ronaldo contributed insights not just from observation, but from experience, the kind of intuition built from decades at the highest level. He questioned, he suggested, he demanded clarity. Victory, he knew, was crafted as much in strategy rooms as on the pitch. Lunch was functional but strategic, lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, hydration meticulously calculated. Every meal was designed to sustain energy, enhance recovery, and prepare the body for peak performance. Ronaldo approached nutrition as a tool, a weapon in his arsenal. Food wasn't indulgence, it was preparation for the moments when seconds mattered, when decisions defined destiny. Afternoon drills were the crucible. Ronaldo led exercises simulating high-pressure situations, penalty kicks with defenders rushing, crosses timed to perfection, rapid-fire passes designed to challenge reflexes. Sweat-soaked uniforms, hearts pounded, lungs burned, but each repetition was a step closer to perfection. Mistakes were opportunities, not failures. Ronaldo corrected, guided, demonstrated. Every error was a lesson, every improvement, a victory. Beyond the physical, Ronaldo never neglected the psychological. Visualization exercises before matches became a ritual for the team. He guided teammates through scenarios, the roar of the crowd, the pressure of the final minutes, the mental toughness needed to overcome setbacks. He understood that football was not won solely with feet or skill, it was won with courage, clarity, and the ability to remain unshakable under pressure. By late afternoon, Ronaldo's energy was relentless, his focus unbreakable. The training sessions concluded with high-intensity scrimmages, replicating the chaos and unpredictability of real matches. Every sprint, tackle, and strike was a rehearsal for destiny. And through it all, Ronaldo was not just a participant, he was the engine, the spark, the constant reminder that greatness is forged in the fire of preparation, discipline, and unwavering commitment. As the sun began to set, Ronaldo reflected briefly in solitude. The day had been long, exhausting, and exacting, but it was exactly the way he wanted it. Every morning, every drill, every mental exercise was building something larger than a career, it was building legacy. And tomorrow, when the stadium lights blazed and the crowd roared, he would take all these quiet hours, all this unseen preparation, and transform it into brilliance that only the world could witness, never fully comprehend. Ronaldo understood something few ever realize, it wasn't the matches themselves that defined him, but the hours, the mornings, the discipline, and the relentless pursuit of being better than yesterday. And that pursuit didn't end until he left the field, or even then, it lingered, echoing in every decision, every movement, every heartbeat. The stadium lights blazed, the crowd erupted, and Cristiano Ronaldo stepped onto the pitch. Every eye was on him, every heartbeat seemed synchronized with his own. But beneath the roar, beneath the pressure, lay the truth few could see: his victory had already been built in the quiet hours of the morning. The goals, the records, the iconic moments, these were the visible culmination of unseen discipline, relentless preparation, and unwavering focus. The match began. Ronaldo's movements were fluid, precise, instinctive. Each sprint, each dribble, each pass carried the weight of countless mornings, countless routines, countless hours of dedication. Opponents tried, but they could not match the preparation that had become second nature. Every muscle knew its purpose, every thought was directed toward impact. Midway through the first half, the moment came. A perfectly timed run, a perfectly struck ball, and the stadium erupted as the net rippled. Ronaldo smiled, not in vanity, but in quiet recognition of a process perfected over years. This goal, like every one before, was not merely a product of talent, it was the reward of discipline, strategy, and a mind that had never wavered under pressure. The match was relentless. Every play demanded focus, courage, and split-second decisions. Ronaldo led by example, inspiring teammates, lifting morale, and demonstrating that greatness is not just in the statistics, but in the resilience, the work ethic, and the unwavering commitment to excellence. He had transformed routine into ritual, training into instinct, and preparation into art. As the final whistle blew, Ronaldo stood victorious. Fans celebrated, cameras flashed, and the world cheered. Yet, he knew the truth behind the glory. It was the early mornings, the private workouts, the mental rehearsals, the discipline without applause that had created this moment. Every trophy, every record, every accolade was an outward manifestation of an inner commitment that few would ever witness. Returning home that evening, Ronaldo reflected on the journey. The routine, the 6 a.m. alarm, the precise nutrition, the unyielding training, the mental fortitude, was not a burden. It was a privilege, a tool, a roadmap that allowed him to achieve the impossible. And in that reflection, he recognized a universal truth: greatness is not accidental. It is built in the quiet moments, in the repetition, in the willingness to outwork everyone, even when no one is watching. Cristiano Ronaldo's mornings were more than preparation. They were a philosophy, a statement that excellence is a choice, and that the seeds of victory are planted in the darkness before the sun rises. And for anyone watching, anyone dreaming, anyone striving for more, his story is a lesson. The triumphs you admire are born in silence, discipline, and relentless dedication. As he finally laid down that night, Ronaldo smiled, not at the accolades or the fame, but at the journey itself. The journey that began at 6 a.m. every day, with purpose, focus, and an unshakable commitment to becoming not just a footballer, but a legend. And tomorrow, the alarm would ring again, the ritual would begin, and the pursuit of greatness would continue, because for Cristiano Ronaldo, the story is never finished.